SpaceX Crew-11 has safely returned to Earth after cutting short its mission aboard the International Space Station due to a serious medical issue involving one of the astronauts. The Crew Dragon capsule undocked from the ISS on Wednesday after the hatch was closed.
After days in orbit, months of preparation, and years of engineering refinement, the most critical phase of any human spaceflight mission is not the launch, it is the return. In the early hours over the Atlantic, NASA's SpaceX Crew-11 mission reached that final moment. The capsule pierced Earth's atmosphere, endured extreme heat and deceleration, and splashed down safely in the ocean. What followed was not just a recovery, but a carefully coordinated medical evacuation designed to protect human life after prolonged exposure to microgravity. This was not a dramatic rescue. It was a demonstration of modern spaceflight operating exactly as intended. If you enjoy calm, factual breakdowns of real human space missions and what happens behind the scenes, make sure you subscribe, because this is where we explain spaceflight as it truly works. The final orbit and deorbit decision. Long before splashdown, Crew-11's return began quietly with calculations rather than flames. Mission controllers monitored orbital mechanics, weather systems, sea states, and recovery zone conditions. A crewed spacecraft cannot simply come home whenever it wants. The timing must be precise. Earth rotates beneath the spacecraft, atmospheric density varies, and recovery ships must be positioned perfectly. Once conditions aligned, NASA and SpaceX issued the deorbit go call. At that moment, the mission entered its most irreversible phase. The capsule fired its Draco thrusters in a carefully timed burn, slowing its orbital velocity just enough to allow Earth's gravity to take over. From that point forward, there was no abort option. The spacecraft was committed to atmospheric entry. Inside the capsule, the crew transitioned into re-entry configuration. Seats were adjusted, systems checked, and communication protocols tightened. Although the process has become routine, it remains one of the most extreme environments humans willingly enter. In just minutes, the spacecraft would experience temperatures hotter than molten lava and forces several times stronger than gravity. Fire, plasma, and controlled violence. As Crew-11 descended, friction with the upper atmosphere transformed surrounding air into superheated plasma. From the outside, the capsule appeared to vanish behind a glowing sheath of ionized gas. This plasma blackout temporarily disrupted communications, a known and planned phenomenon that every crewed re-entry must endure. The heat shield absorbed and dissipated enormous thermal energy, protecting the crew from temperatures exceeding 1,600 degrees Celsius. Inside, the experience was physical. Astronauts felt increasing pressure as deceleration forces built. Their bodies, adapted to months of weightlessness, were suddenly asked to function under heavy load. Breathing became deliberate, movements slowed. Every system, human and mechanical, was tested simultaneously. Unlike early space programs, modern capsules are designed for controlled stability. Computers constantly adjusted orientation, ensuring the spacecraft maintained the precise angle needed to manage heat and aerodynamic forces. This balance between automation and engineering redundancy is what allows crews to return safely, mission after mission. Parachutes, ocean, and the end of spaceflight. As the capsule slowed to subsonic speeds, a sequence of parachutes deployed. First came the drogue chutes stabilizing the vehicle. Then, the main parachutes unfurled, massive fabric structures designed to lower the spacecraft gently into the ocean. The transition from hypersonic plasma to quiet descent happens in minutes, yet it marks the end of spaceflight and the return to Earth. Splashdown occurred in the designated recovery zone, with SpaceX recovery teams already in position. The capsule hit the water firmly but safely, bobbing upright as designed. At that moment, Crew-11's time in space officially ended, but the mission was not yet complete. For crews returning from orbit, the first minutes after landing are medically significant. Muscles weaken in microgravity, blood redistributes, balance systems are disrupted. Standing immediately after landing can be dangerous. That is why NASA's recovery procedures emphasize caution, monitoring, and controlled extraction. Medical evacuation, precision, not panic. Once the capsule was secured, recovery teams approached carefully. Hatches were opened only after environmental checks confirmed safe conditions. The crew did not rush out. Instead, they were assisted one by one, placed onto stretchers, and transferred to medical teams. This is not a sign of emergency, it is standard protocol. Medical evacuation ensures astronauts are protected from sudden changes in gravity, blood pressure, and orientation. Doctors and flight surgeons immediately began assessments, checking cardiovascular response, neurological function, and mobility. This phase is essential for long-duration missions, where even healthy astronauts can experience dizziness or weakness upon return. The time-lapse footage of Crew-11's exit compresses hours of careful work into seconds. What appears fast and simple is actually deliberate, methodical, and deeply rehearsed. Every movement reflects decades of lessons learned from human spaceflight. What Crew-11's mission was really about. Crew-11 was not a headline-driven mission built around spectacle. Like most modern NASA crew rotations, its purpose was continuity. The International Space Station is not a destination. It is an operating laboratory that requires constant human presence. Crew-11's role was to maintain that presence, carry out long-duration experiments, and ensure a smooth transition between incoming and outgoing crews. During their time aboard the ISS, the crew supported experiments in human physiology, materials science, fluid dynamics, and Earth observation. Many of these studies depend on months of exposure to microgravity. Short missions cannot replicate the biological and mechanical changes that occur over time. Crew-11 provided that missing variable, duration. Equally important was operational stability. Space stations do not run themselves. Systems require monitoring, maintenance, and occasional repair. Crew-11 acted as both scientists and custodians, ensuring that the station remained functional for future missions. Life in microgravity and the cost to the human body. Extended time in orbit changes the human body in subtle but measurable ways. Muscles atrophy when they no longer support body weight. Bones lose density. Fluids shift upward, altering vision and cardiovascular behavior. Balance systems recalibrate to a world without up or down. Astronauts counter these effects with strict exercise regimens, often spending 2 hours a day working against resistance devices designed to simulate gravity. Even with these measures, returning to Earth is physically demanding. The body must relearn how to function under gravity in real time. This is why post-splashdown medical care is not optional. It is a core component of mission success. Crew-11's assisted exit was not about weakness. It was about protecting long-term health and ensuring that the data collected during the mission is not compromised by preventable injury. Why time-lapse footage can be misleading. The time-lapse video of Crew-11's recovery compresses reality into something that looks effortless. In truth, recovery operations unfold slowly. Every step, from securing the capsule to opening the hatch to extracting crew members, is governed by checklists refined over decades. Recovery teams monitor temperature, pressure, and atmospheric composition inside the capsule. Medical personnel observe crew responsiveness and physical stability. Even simple actions like sitting upright are evaluated carefully. Time-lapse removes the waiting, the pauses, and the checks. What remains is efficiency without context. Understanding that context is essential to appreciating how far human spaceflight has evolved since the early days of splashdowns. The NASA-SpaceX partnership in practice. Crew-11 is another example of how NASA and SpaceX now operate as integrated partners rather than separate entities. NASA defines mission requirements, safety standards, and scientific objectives. SpaceX provides the launch system, spacecraft, and recovery infrastructure. This division of responsibility allows NASA to focus on exploration and research while relying on a commercial provider for transportation. The result is a system that is more flexible, more cost-effective, and increasingly routine. Routine in this context is not a flaw, it is the goal. A successful crewed mission is one that feels uneventful. Crew-11's splashdown, recovery, and medical evacuation proceeded exactly as planned. That predictability is what enables more ambitious missions in the future. What Crew-11's return signals for future missions. Every safe return strengthens confidence in the system. Each mission adds data about spacecraft performance, human adaptation, and operational reliability. Crew-11 contributes to that growing foundation. As NASA prepares for longer missions, such as Artemis lunar flights and eventual journeys to Mars, the lessons from low Earth orbit remain critical. Medical protocols, recovery procedures, and human performance data all scale upward. The better we understand how astronauts return from orbit, the better prepared we are for returns from deep space. Crew-11's mission did not push boundaries dramatically. Instead, it reinforced them. And in spaceflight, reinforcement is progress. Why this mission matters even without drama. It is easy to overlook missions that go exactly as planned. There were no emergency maneuvers, no last-minute saves, no unexpected failures. But that is precisely why Crew-11 matters. Human spaceflight is transitioning from rare achievement to sustained operation. That transition depends on reliability. Crew-11 demonstrated that launching humans, keeping them in orbit for months, and bringing them home safely is no longer extraordinary. It is repeatable. That repeatability is what enables science, exploration, and eventually expansion beyond Earth orbit. So NASA's SpaceX Crew-11 mission ended not with spectacle but with precision. A safe re-entry, a controlled splashdown, and a careful medical evacuation. All signs of a system working as intended. These are the moments that quietly build the future of human spaceflight. If you enjoyed this calm, in-depth breakdown of a real crewed mission and want more explanations like this, make sure you subscribe. You'll find the full video link in the description. Thanks for watching. Stay curious and we'll see you next time, right here in space.